Hello, we're back for top 8 of the BC Provincials, and we've got Amelia, Bottemiller versus Albert Du. Albert is playing a ZPST deck, which is kind of a surprise, but he runs Mewtwo in it, and he also runs Experience Share, which actually makes his deck kind of viable. It allows him to maintain energy on the board and actually compete with the speed of these other decks that have fast acceleration by being able to move the energy off of his Pokemon that die onto another Pokemon. She starts Celebi, he starts a Tornadus and just attaches and passes. She attached energy to Celebi. I don't know how I feel about that play. Honestly, there's a good chance that she could draw into a Switch or a Sky Arrow, so I wouldn't have attached that energy. But she runs 11 Grass, so I think that's kind of acceptable in her deck, I guess. She goes ahead and Oaks and draws 6, and then goes for the Dual Ball, gets at least 1 Heads, and I believe she goes for Tornadus. I don't really know if there's another play she could have gone for here. I guess Tornadus is the best attacker. I might have gone for Regigigas if she could have charged it up in 1 turn. Otherwise, Regigigas is kind of a liability. But yeah, the Tornadus is acceptable. She doesn't want to bring out Mewtwo yet because she knows that he runs at least 1 Mewtwo. So she passes it to Albert, and he just attaches an energy, plays down a second Tornadus, and then attaches that Experience Share I was talking about. So that way, if his Tornadus gets knocked out, he can move an energy to the Tornadus on the bench. And the even cooler thing about that is when he Hurricanes, he'll be able to move an energy to the Tornadus. So technically, next turn, if he's able to Hurricane and attack, and it gets knocked out the following turn, he's going to have a fully charged Tornadus on the bench that he can just promote. So she just goes straight away for another Oak. And she just needs to get 2 energy here. Yeah, 2 energy. And then she could be the first one to do 80. She does play the Regigigas down. I guess that's smart because she's going to be able to move the energy to the Regigigas on the bench. I mean, I guess there's a risk that it could be captured up and she'll kind of be stuck there. But then, even then, she could always draw into a double colorless and start attacking again. So now Albert has to decide if he wants to possibly retreat in the other one or just attack with the one he has there. Honestly, he has no reason to not just attack with that one because the energy is going to be moved to that Tornadus on the bench because it has Experience Share. Plus, it doesn't really make sense to have an active Pokemon with Experience Share. So yeah, he just goes for the 80 and moves an energy to the other Tornadus. She plays down a Celebi. I mean, she doesn't want to just lose it, I guess, so might as well play it down. Plus, in case he tries to catch her a Celebi, she'll have another one there. She wastes a plus power because why not? And then decides to retreat by paying the retreat cost. And I'm assuming she has double colorless, so now she's going to be able to one-shot the Tornadus without having to do 20 to herself. And he moves the energy for the Experience Share, and then promotes the Tornadus. His hand seems pretty bad. It seemed pretty bad for most of the game. I haven't seen really any supporters, and I think here he might be forced to play down the Mewtwo. Otherwise, he risks losing the game here and now. He doesn't want to have just one attacker out. But by also playing Tornado or playing down the Mewtwo too early, he can lose as well. So he's really in a tough situation. I don't know if Amelia knew this at this moment, but he only runs 1 Mewtwo EX. So that's really important, because that means if she can just take out that Mewtwo, then the game's going to be way easier for her to win. He goes ahead and attaches a Electric to the Tornadus, and I want to say he has to play the Mewtwo, and he does. And his hand's really bad. No supporters, but I guess he's just going to want to go for the 80 on the Tornadus. Or not the Tornadus, on the Regigigas. The great thing about Regigigas is the second attack's going to be able to do 130 now. But she's going to go for Dual Ball, and she's going to make a play here that I think is really, really clutch, and is really going to define the game. However, I think she got double tails there. But the great thing about this deck is it runs Shaman from Unleashed, so she'll be able to move energies around and potentially set up a new attacker. And since there's an energy on that Mewtwo on the bench, she could potentially try and move energy to one of her Mewtwo's and then try and capture it out and take out his one and only Mewtwo and put Albert in a really tough situation. So she is going to go for Dual Ball again, gets 2 heads, and is going to grab the Shaman and just a Tornadus, I guess. And I want to say she has the Mewtwo and a catcher in hand, so she's going to be able to take out that Mewtwo on the bench. Yep, she catches it up, plays down the Mewtwo, uses a switch. Oh yeah, she also needed a switch, otherwise Regigigas is kind of stuck there. And then plays the Shaman and moves energy to the Mewtwo. So now she's going to be able to X-Ball and take 2 prizes, and that's going to set back Albert a lot. But he is able to move the energy to the Tornadus because of experience share, so that's nice, but his hand is really bad, and I don't see him really making a huge comeback here. ZPST is all about applying early pressure and trying to take quick prizes, but he hasn't taken any prizes, and he's behind by 3 and has nothing in hand. He plays Pachirisu down just because he doesn't want to risk losing the game. If he were to just pass, he could X-Ball and win the game there. So he goes ahead and just does 80 and moves an energy to the Pachirisu because I think he has to. Even then, he kind of wants to because he wants to make it harder for Mewtwo to KO the Tornadus. Even though no matter what, she's going to KO it since it has at least 2 energy on it, which means she'll do 120 with X-Ball. She goes for Pokegear. I don't know if she got anything off that. I'm gonna guess no. She goes for the Juniper, discarding the Tornadus, I think an N and something else. And there's not really anything she needs right here per se, but it doesn't hurt her to try and set up more attackers. So she puts a DC on the Regigigas and just knocks out the Tornadus. And now all Albert has is a Pachirisu with electric energy. He finally draws a supporter, but it seems like it's probably too late for him. I think he's going to burn the plus power here because he doesn't want to draw into it. And he's going to play the Shaman because he doesn't want to risk losing, or not losing. He doesn't want to risk not drawing into an attacker. And he also doesn't really want to draw into the Shaman either. So just burning off your hand before a supporter is definitely pretty smart in certain situations like this. And he's going to get the Sky Arrow, which is nice. They both run Sky Arrow. So whoever gets it out first, I guess, it's going to benefit both players. I think he gets double tails on the Dual Ball, which really sucks. Or no, he doesn't. He got 1 head. I thought the first one was tails. And he just grabs another Shaman, which I don't really understand, but I think he's going to try and set up another Tornadus, because there is a Tornadus in his hand, I think. And if he can move the energy off that Pachirisu, and I think he has a double colorless too, so he's going to be able to go for the he's actually going to be able to knock out that Mewtwo because he used a plus power before. And so he just retreats and goes for Hurricane and is going to knock out that Mewtwo. It's not bad, but I mean, she's got a Regigigas already on the bench that can potentially knock out anything with Rage if she has another DC, or if she can Force Breath and attach a Grass to it, both of which aren't too hard. She actually attaches to Tornadus, not sure why. Oh, she has the DC, okay. And she's going to go for the Pokegear again and get a Professor Oak. I mean, I guess that's fine. Normally, I wouldn't want to waste my Pokegears, but if she... I guess she needs to use it. Something I've learned by using this deck is you don't want to use a supporter if you don't have to, because late game when they end you want a higher chance of drawing into those supporters. But at the same time, you want to have at least 1 Pokegear in the discard pile, because if you do draw into Junk Arm after getting end, you can Junk Arm for a Pokegear and get a supporter that way. But she goes ahead and just uses Rage to, or whatever the second attack is, to do 130 for the knockout. And now I don't think Albert can really do anything, and I think he should probably just scoop. He's wasting time by trying to win a game that seems pretty unwinnable. I mean, I guess he's got 1 energy in hand, so there's no way he's going to be able to set up another attacker this turn. And she can pretty much knock out anything. So He goes for dual ball anyway and gets 1 heads. And I think he's thinking about grabbing that Zekrom. I guess to stall, but even then, like I said, the Regigigas is doing 130, so unless he has an Eviolite, she's going to be able to knock out the Zekrom too, and all she really needs is a catcher anyway, and she can just catch up something on the bench and then win the game, so I think he's really just wasting time here, and that the game is already lost. So yeah, he gets that Zekrom anyway, looks at his discard pile, and I think he plays down both the Tornadus and the Zekrom. I think. He attaches an energy to the Tornadus. And I think... yeah, he does play the Zekrom. And I think he just scoops here. And that's game 1. Check back for game 2. Catch you guys later.